John Ulzheimer is known as one of our nation's most recognized credit experts. Having worked for 28 years in the credit industry, John has become one of the most prolific speakers about credit and the go-to authority on answers to credit-related questions. Credit Countdown with John Ulzheimer.
Hey there, this is John Ulzheimer. I am a consumer credit expert. I have been in the credit industry for almost 30 years. I've spent time at FICO, which is the company behind the FICO credit scoring system, and Equifax, which is one of the three generally recognized credit reporting agencies. So I got a question recently, and the way it was worded kind of suggested, so I'll give you the backstory. The question was, does closing a credit card really lower my credit score? And I think that so many people write about this topic, about how closing credit cards can lower your scores, that it almost becomes unbelievable. Almost like the little boy who cried wolf. There's so many articles about it, so many articles that are wrong, which really ticks me off about this issue of closing credit cards. So let's kind of let's go through this whole issue of closing credit cards and why it can possibly lower credit scores. So the answer to the first question is it possible? 100% yes. It is absolutely possible that closing credit cards can lower your credit scores. So then the question becomes, well, why? And the answer to that question is often incorrect in the blogosphere, because there's too many people who are not experts in credit who are writing content about credit, respectfully. And they get this wrong all the time, which all of a sudden then it becomes truth because other people refer to it, and all of a sudden it's like a snowball. There's only one reason why closing a credit card can lower your credit score, period. The reason closing a credit card can lower your credit score is if you lose the value of the credit limit when the card is closed. So in credit scoring systems, there's a metric, a very common metric in FICO's and VantageScore's credit scoring systems called revolving utilization. It's often referred to as the credit utilization ratio or the balance to limit ratio. It's the same thing, it's just not 100% correct the way it's being worded. It's actually called the revolving utilization ratio. And what this is it's the relationship between the balances on your credit cards and the credit limits on your credit cards. And so the lower that ratio, which means the lower amount of your credit limits that you're currently using as a balance as it appears on your credit reports, and therefore your ratio is lower, and the lower your ratio, the more points you're going to earn. A lot of people suggest that that's worth 30% of the points in your score. That's incorrect. It's part of the category that's worth 30% of the points in your score. It's not the whole category. There are other things that don't have anything to do with utilization ratios in that same 30% category. So keep that in mind also as you're reading through blogs on this issue. When you close a credit card, you're going to lose the value of the unused credit limit, and your utilization ratio may go up as a result, especially if you haven't lowered balances on other credit cards. That is the only reason why closing a credit card can lower your score. There's a lot of incorrect information out there about how when you close a credit card, you lose the value of the age of the card, and therefore your credit report can look younger. That's wrong. As long as the account is still on your credit report, you're still getting the benefit of the age of the account. In fact, the account keeps aging even if it's closed. And so if you closed a Visa card today and it's 10 years old, if you come back in a year, that Visa card is going to be 11 years old. So you still get the value of the age of the account as long as it's still on your credit report. So really it's this issue of the utilization ratio that can cause a lower score. So the answer to the question is absolutely yes, it can happen. And it's because of that issue of utilization. So what do you do? All right, so you want to close a credit card, but you're terrified. John's just terrified you that your credit scores are going to plummet because of what you're going to do. Let's be realistic about what I'm saying. Your scores are not going to plummet. The only way your scores plummet is if they're really, really good to begin with, and you do a bunch of really bad things at one time. Then it can plummet. But otherwise, your scores may go down because of what you did. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to be cognizant of the timing, meaning don't go and close a bunch of credit cards a month before you're going to apply for a mortgage. That would be a bad idea. If you're going to close a credit card, fine, close a credit card, but do it in the middle of what I call kind of credit no man's land. You have no plans on applying for anything anytime soon. You can close the card that you don't want any longer. You can look at your credit score the next month and see what happened to it. Did it go down? If it did go down, how much did it go down? Did it go down because utilization went up or for some other reason? And then at least you have time to react to the difference in the scores. So you're not, kind of jumping through hoops at the very last second, like a lot of people do when they, I'm going to apply for a mortgage. I should check my credit report the day before I apply. That's silly. You check it 2 or 3 months before you apply. So that gives you time to kind of react accordingly. So keep that in mind as you're thinking about through this issue of closing credit cards. I would suggest that you don't close it at all. Even if you're paying an annual fee, if you think about it, you have capacity on the card and you may be paying a nominal annual fee just to have that available credit to you. Sorry about that. And I like the idea of paying a little bit to keep that capacity, kind of what I call keeping your powder dry, keeping that of credit available to you. But if you do choose to close it, just be cognizant of the timing, because you definitely don't want to close the account right before you apply for a mortgage and then boom, you have a lower score and your mortgage cost just went up, because that's going to cost you a whole lot more than whatever annual fee you're paying on your card. So if you have any other questions, drop them in the comment section below and I'll do my best to get to them. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a great rest of your day.
For more videos and credit tips from John Ulzheimer, go to www.tradelinesupply.com.